Regardless of what you think about Julian Assange and what he did, you should care about what happens to him. This is part one of a series explaining why. Okay, who is Julian Assange? In 2006, Assange founded WikiLeaks, which is a website for whistleblowers where you can anonymously upload sensitive documents, publish it to all of the world. But WikiLeaks wasn't really a big deal until 2010, when Chelsea Manning, who was an Army intelligence analyst, uploaded hundreds of thousands of classified documents exposing how the US was doing war and diplomacy around the world. And it revealed some frankly horrifying stuff. The Pentagon was furious at these leaks, and the public was kind of torn on whether Julian Assange was a heroic journalist or an anti-American villain. And the next chapter of his life would be spent trying to avoid arrest by the US government. The next part of this series finds Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Julian Assange lived in an embassy in London for 7 years. On a spring day in 2012, he dressed up as a motorcycle delivery man, dyed his hair, put colored contacts in his eyes, and even put a rock in his shoe so he would walk a little differently than normal. He was sure that dark government forces were after him, and he showed up here at the Embassy of Ecuador in London. Ecuador granted him political asylum, which protects him from being arrested as long as he stays inside the walls of this embassy. Oh, and by the way, this isn't actual footage of Julian Assange. We actually hired an actor and did a reenactment. Anyway, Assange lived here for 7 years, occasionally going out onto this balcony to address his supporters and continuing to run WikiLeaks. Eventually, his hosts got kind of sick of him and kicked him out in 2019. It probably didn't help that Ecuador's new president was also the subject of embarrassing leaks. The UK police immediately arrested him, and the US is requesting him to be sent to the US to face charges for all of these leaks that he published. He's still in a British prison right now, though likely not for long. But wait, what was the actual crime here? That gets to the heart of the story. Assange is facing a 175-year prison sentence. He published over 700,000 classified documents that Army intel analyst Chelsea Manning gave him. The US government, no likey. Wait, don't journalists do this all of the time? Yes, they do. What would a conviction of Julian Assange mean for free speech and journalism? Let's just look at the charges really quickly. They fall into 3 buckets: hacking, aiding, and publishing. The hacking charge is small potatoes. It's like 5-year sentence max for allegedly working with Manning to try to crack a government computer's password. That's the first charge. This is where it gets serious. Because Manning was a convicted spy for stealing all of these government secrets, and Assange published them, he's now being charged as a spy too for helping her, which is a big effing deal. And this leads to the third bucket, and the scariest to me as a journalist. The US says that Assange violated the Espionage Act by taking documents containing the names of military informants and publishing them on the internet. The crime is literally for publishing. I need a whole separate video to explain all of this. It's up now. Go to the other. We can't ignore Julian Assange and the charges against him. And no, I'm not referring to the sexual misconduct allegations in Sweden. And I'm not asking you to like this guy. He's kind of an asshole. I don't really like him. The big deal here is that the US is charging him as a spy for publishing classified documents on the internet. The very foundation of how journalism works relies on journalists going out and talking to sources and being able to publish what those sources say, and those sources can remain anonymous. And oftentimes they're publishing classified information. And the reason we do it is because it's in the public interest. It is newsworthy. But wait, how is this different from the charges against Assange? If he can be indicted as a spy, why not the New York Times journalist? Oh, because Julian Assange is a hacker. He's not a journalist. Guess what? Journalist is not a legal status. Journalists don't enjoy some upgraded version of free speech. And free speech keeps our government accountable. Want to charge Assange with conspiracy to hack a computer? If the evidence is there, knock yourself out. But calling the publishing of classified documents a crime is a slippery slope that could seriously harm journalists' ability to keep us informed.